And we are reading about the tabernacle. Tabernacle just means tent. Tabernacle. T-E-N-T. Tent means going camping. So this is God's camp, God's tent, which he's giving instructions to Moses to build. Well, not him to, well, he's supposed to have the instructions and supposed to get people to build it. But Moses gets the architect plans or the IKEA plans, the assembly. Yeah. So here it is, Exodus chapter 26. Moreover, you shall make the tabernacle with 10 curtains of fine twined linen. How does it work at 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 curtains of fine twined linen and blue and purple and scarlet yarns. So you can imagine it a bit like that, blue and some purple. So yeah, you can imagine that, all these curtains. I guess before they had like vinyl and whatever they use for tent today, so they used linen, twined linen. I'm just going to read before and not make too many comments. You shall make them with cherubim. Cherubim means angels, skillfully worked into them, into the patterns of these curtains. The length of each curtain shall be 28 cubits. I think I need to look at the footnotes. 28 cubit. 1 cubit is 18 inches or 45 centimeters. So do the math. 28 cubits. And the breadth of each curtain 4 cubits. All the curtains shall be the same size. 5 curtains shall be coupled to one another, and the other 5 shall be coupled to one another. And you shall make loops of blue on the edge of the outermost curtain in the first set. Likewise, you shall make loops on the edge of the outermost curtain in the second set. 50 loops you shall make on the one curtain, and 50 loops you shall make on the edge of the curtain that is in the second set. The loops shall be opposite one another, and you shall make 50 clasps of gold, and couple the curtains one to the other with the clasps, so that the tabernacle may be a single whole. Verse 7, you shall also make curtains of goat's hair for a tent over the tabernacle. 11 curtains shall you make. The length of each curtain shall be 30 cubits, and the breadth of each curtain 4 cubits. The 11 curtains shall be the same size. You shall couple 5 curtains by themselves and 6 curtains by themselves, and the 6th curtain you shall double over at the front of the tent. You shall make 50 loops on the edge of the curtain that is outermost in one set, and 50 loops on the edge of the curtain that is outermost in the second set. You shall make 50 clasps of bronze, and put the clasps into the loops, and couple the tent together that it may be a single whole. And the part that remains of the curtains of the tent, the half curtain that remains, shall hang over the back of the tabernacle. And the extra that remains in the length of the curtain, the cubit on the one side and the cubit on the other side, shall hang over the sides of the tabernacle, on this side and that side, to cover it. And you shall make for the tent a covering of tanned ram's skins and a covering of goat skins on top. You shall make upright frames for the tabernacle of acacia wood. 10 cubits shall be the length of a frame, and a cubit and a half the breadth of each frame. There shall be 2 tenons in each frame for fitting together, so you shall do for all the frames of the tabernacle. You shall make the frames of the tabernacle 20 frames for the south side, and 40 bases of silver you shall make under the 20 frames, 2 bases under one frame for its 2 tenons, and 2 bases under the next frame for its 2 tenons. And for the second side of the tabernacle on the north side, 20 frames and their 40 bases of silver, 2 bases under one frame and 2 bases under the next frame. And for the rear of the tabernacle westward you shall make 6 frames, and you shall make 2 frames for corners of the tabernacle in the rear. They shall be separate beneath, but joined at the top at the first ring. Thus it shall be with both of them. They shall form the two corners. And there shall be 8 frames with their bases of silver, 16 bases, 2 bases under one frame, and 2 bases under another frame. You shall make bars of acacia wood, 5 for the frames of the one side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the frames of the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the frames of the side of the tabernacle at the rear westward. The middle bar halfway up the frames shall run from end to end. You shall overlay the frames with gold, and shall make there rings of gold for holders for the bars, and you shall overlay the bars with gold. Then you shall erect the tabernacle according to the plan for it that you were shown on the mountain. And you shall make a veil of blue and purple and scarlet yarns and fine twined linen. It shall be made with cherubim skillfully worked into it. And you shall hang it on 4 pillars of acacia overlaid with gold, and hooks of gold on 4 bases of silver. And you shall hang the veils from the clasps, and bring the ark of the testimony in there within the veil. And the veil shall separate for you the holy place from the most holy place. You shall put the mercy seat on the ark of the testimony in the most holy place. And you shall set the table outside the veil, and the lampstand on the south side of the tabernacle opposite the table, and you shall put the table on the north side. You shall make a screen for the entrance of the tent, of blue and purple and scarlet yarns and fine twined linen embroidered with needlework. And you shall make for the screen 5 pillars of acacia, and overlay them with gold. Their hooks shall be of gold, and you shall cast 5 bases of bronze for them. Cool. So this are our plans for this huge tent that is separated into 2 sections. Did you notice that there is the holy place and the most holy place? And in the most holy place, there's to be this ark, this kind of a coffee table box with the cover, the atonement cover, the mercy seat, and inside of it there's going to be the testimony, or the 2 tablets, the 10 commandments, placed inside this ark. And outside the most holy place is the holy place with the table and the lamp. And so this tent is meant to be very intricate. It's meant to be covered on all sides, and there are 2 sections to it. And notice as well, it's meant to be following this pattern that Moses will receive on the mountain, almost as if to mirror an original. So he sees the plans are given to him, and he must make it, God says, exactly according to that plan. Meaning, actually, this is almost like a picture or an illustration of what's happening with God in heaven. So this is a picture of maybe even heaven, or God's dwelling place, God's throne in heaven. And you get some clues about that. Again, in the fact that Moses says you must follow this pattern, it's meant to be this illustration. But also these angels are meant to be worked or maybe woven. Their designs, you can see angel in the sides of the walls, the tent curtains, meaning, this is like heaven. But also in the cover of the entrances that separate, or not entrance, the curtain that separates the holy place and the most holy place. Is that right? Let me see. Cherubim. I can't spell cherubim. So it's mentioned, cherubim is mentioned in verse 1. It's also mentioned in verse 31 in the veil. So the separating curtain between the holy place and the most holy place, almost like guards. And you're meant to remember how there were these angel guards with the flashing sword at the end of Genesis 3, when Adam and Eve were meant to leave the garden and weren't able to come back because this angel with the flaming sword was guarding the entrance. And so it's mimicking that paradise Eden setting that we saw in the beginning of Genesis. And God is saying that's where God is. That's how you come into God's entrance, and how there is still this barrier. This separation between God and us, His holiness, these angels, these curtains. But yeah, it sets up that picture of God's dwelling place in this tent. And if you remember, when Jesus died on the cross, this particular curtain was torn into 2 from top to bottom. at that point of time, it was in the temple already. So there was a more permanent structure. But there was still this symbolic curtain to symbolize this separation between God and us, His holiness and our unholiness. And that was torn. Jesus himself was that curtain that was torn so that there's now this access. We can come to God's presence and not be destroyed. So that's Exodus chapter 26 about the tent, this tabernacle, this plans for this tent of God. Cool.